Georgia, the gentleman from Judiciary Committee, Congressman Collins.
The gentleman from Georgia is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the chairman of the Rules Committee. I rise in strong support of this rule and the underlying legislation, H.R. 5682, to authorize the construction of the Keystone Pipeline. It's not every day that I come back, and we've been gone for a while from debating while we've been out actually campaigning and listening to the American people, and the American people spoke rather loudly last week, and it's good to come back and begin to put into practice what they said. In fact, it is amazing to me how debates have went on so far here and coming to the floor. In fact, from people that normally we never disagree on, I'm actually bringing to the floor a bipartisan, little bit of bipartisanship here. In fact, I know that some will think of no better argument for the pipeline. In fact, there's no better one I've heard than one I read in the paper today from a distinguished colleague in the other chamber just across the way who does not share a Republican point of view. He made these words. He said, in regards to the Keystone Pipeline, quote, "It would be a tremendous windfall for all of us. It's something we can count on. And I can't for the life of me understand why we haven't to date been able to move this piece of legislation forward." Well, good grief, neither do I. In fact, if I was to spend the rest of my 5 minutes just trying to understand why the Senate moved bills, we'd be here all night, Mr. Speaker. The gentleman from the other side of the body, the Senate, summed it up clearly. He said, I don't understand why we can't move stuff. What I've also missed, Mr. Speaker, coming back to the floor of the House, is things that I've never heard before. I mean, not at least in North Georgia, where I'm from, when we talk about jobs. I've heard it talked about here on the floor of the House this afternoon. In fact, it said that this was a waste of taxpayer money. To bring bills like this up to that it's a waste of taxpayer money. What's a waste of taxpayer money is the House Republicans passing jobs bills for Americans, regardless of their party, jobs for them, and having them sit in a Senate that never woke up. That's a waste of taxpayer money. Where do I go to get my money back from that side of the aisle? It's also another thing is amazing to me today is I actually heard something, Mr. Speaker, and you may have to help me with this. I don't understand, because it was just said here on the floor of the House that this bill was a special interest earmark. I have never heard jobs described as a special interest earmark. Are you telling me that the Congress, in looking to give people jobs, is a special interest earmark? I think that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Are you kidding? This is exactly what the election was about just a couple of days ago. It was exactly what the American people spoke of. It's exactly what they're tired of, government standing in the way of jobs. An emergency legislation, emergency rule, another term I've just heard on the House floor just in a few minutes. Coming to the floor with an emergency rule that we're going to do something special. Undoubtedly, they've never met somebody with not having a job. I've been without a job. And if you were to tell me that I could get a job when I was looking for a job, that's emergency legislation. It's special legislation. It's whatever it is. I'm looking for a job, and there's millions of families looking for jobs. Special interest, it is not. It is the work of this body. And to say it's a waste of time, we lost that much of our vision of what the American people sent us here to do. Are there things that we could bring up? I appreciate my friend from Colorado. Are there a multitude of bills we could bring up? Yes. But as my parents once told me, they said, Doug, that is the supper you're getting tonight. You either eat it or go to bed hungry. The bill we have before us is a jobs bill. 42,000 jobs, puts millions of people in jobs in the economy back together again in a way that helps our economy and helps the world. But yet all we're worried about is what could be. Well, what could be is not good enough for somebody who can't pay their house payment, who can't find enough to work, who can't send their kids to school, who can't do that. It's been, if you are watching, and if you want to think about this right now, there's a clear difference. And the clear difference is that the Republicans have listened to the folks at the ball fields, have listened to the folks at the churches and synagogues, who've listened to the folks at the restaurants, who've heard, I need a job. I want to work together for good jobs, and we'll get to better jobs. But what's before us right now, Mr. Speaker, is this bill. This is the bill that's before us. And there's bipartisan support for this. And we can claim what's not in it. We can claim what it is. But I will never, ever want to come to this podium, Mr. Speaker, and ever say that a jobs bill is an earmark, that a jobs bill is something that shouldn't be taken up, or it's a waste of time. Because when we say that bills like this are a waste of time, then we might as well say to those on the unemployment line, you're a waste of time. And this Republican will never do that because the American people expect better from us. And that's why this rule needs to pass. That's why this bill needs to pass. And that is why this Republican majority will do what it's sent here to do: govern. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields.